into the online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Yeah, Space Oddity, David Bowie. Welcome to the Blacklist AfterBuzz After Show with a little David Bowie Space Oddity. Means
Major Tom. Ground
Major
control
Tom.
to Major Tom.
See what we did? We have Major and Tom.
Yes.
Major Tom.
Major. Well, last week was also Major Tom, but that
Yes.
was Peter Schilling, the German version.
Exactly.
Or as you like to say, the schmurderty version.
That's right. That's my German.
I could listen to this all day.
Me
This
too.
is one of my faves.
It's a good one.
Of all time.
Major Tom.
Yes.
Nando. I'm joined as always by Nando Velasquez. Hi.
Yes, that is me. Thank you for the point, too. Thank you. For those of you watching us live or on YouTube later.
And I'm also joined by the lovely Julia Cearley.
Hello,
Hi.
gentlemen. Hello.
I'm Joe Braswell. Shortly we will have
Joe Sanfelippo.
my man Joe San on the phone.
Who is
He's got plenty to say about this episode.
drunk again.
No, yeah, he's calling in from a secure location.
Secret location, undisclosed location.
From an undisclosed location.
He's in Germany, folks. He went to the source.
He's on the
went-
super secret tanker. That's
Yeah. He's
the Red Reddington super black site.
and he's on, I believe.
Flippo.
Are we on? Are we doing this thing? Are we in there?
Yes,
we're
we are.
on. We're joined by Joe Flippo, and Joe, you are calling us from a secure location, right?
Oh, in the bunker, man. In the
Yes, good. So we have this episode, the Major, number 94. Is that? Did I get that right?
No,
75.
75.
Boy, you're off.
Close.
That was close.
You're close-ish.
Not really,
I
a
think
little
I
bit.
wrote down 94.
This,
too.
this
Dumbass.
you lost in Price and Right rules even.
Yes.
Yeah.
The Major episode. This is an interesting episode. This is a bit of almost like a sort of a bottle episode, right? You know, we have the old episodes like they used to do, like in the 70s and 80s.
It felt like a bottle episode where most of the scenes were in one location, and there was a lot of flashbacks.
A lot of flashbacks.
Remember the time when we went after those bad guys?
Like
and,
Saved by the Bell, when like Screech was hurt or something, and they'd be like,
yeah.
remember back when Screech?
Or Community. If you ever watched Community, they had an
Yes.
awesome bottle episode. They had a lot of fake flashbacks, but it was still an awesome.
I love it.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Do you want to describe what a bottle episode actually means?
I thought he just did.
We
just did a bottle
It's
episode.
just a lot of
Back in the day,
flashbacks.
to save money, what shows would do in a long season sometimes, it mainly in sitcoms, they would have a location, they would have a premise where you stayed on one set, like just one room, and everyone's just pretty much hanging out and they're like trapped for whatever reason. And they're
someone's
just
in a coma,
remember
they're in a
that
hospital,
time, yeah,
or-
in a hospital or whatever, and they're like, remember that time when we did this, and all of a sudden they would just do a little flashback, and it would just be an episode really just recalling past episodes with this really lame minor plot in the middle of it.
Right.
So yeah. In one
Unlike this episode.
this episode had more stuff.
Kidding. Well, that didn't happen for sure this time.
This episode had a
No.
lot of that bottle episode with the whole Lizzie King interview, but
Sure.
there was also the Germany stuff.
I didn't think that they can get away with that. You know, it's such a blatant trick that they use. It's such a blatant device. I didn't think you'd be able to get they'll be able to do that in a primetime hit show, and they did it. But I will say they kind of pulled it off. I feel like that they got enough. I mean, I think so. We all have different on this, but they got enough. They got enough plot elements in there because we still got to see Tom in Germany doing whatever he's doing.
Yeah,
we still got to see Red kind of doing what he's doing. And he's still doing some Red stuff. Then we got a lot of reveals and secrets revealed and plot exposition, like in one cool monologue, one cool Red speech. We got all kinds of plot and reveals.
A lot of good stuff.
Including a prediction made by the one Joe Braswell back in season 1, where I said I believe that that Tom is working for Red, and I was right. I got one.
I don't
right.
remember.
I believe I had that.
Played, Braz.
Do you remember it?
I don't, but I'm gonna believe him.
Okay.
Go to the tape. Check the tape. It's true. Flippo, what do you think of this episode? You still there?
I actually like this episode. I like the way that they did this. I thought it actually worked. And I had, I was thinking like the reason why they would go about it this way is they needed to catch everybody up again. I mean, there's so much that's gone on.
Sure.
And they probably picked up quite a few people after the Super Bowl. There's probably a bunch of people watching the show that had no idea what went on season 1. And, so many episodes in each season. There's no way you can sit down and binge watch this without losing your mind. So I think that I think it was actually pretty smart. They went ahead and broke it all out. Like, this is the show you're watching in case you didn't know and just thought it was cool, which is great. We're happy you're here, but here it is.
Yeah,
and then remind everybody what's what, and then, oh, by the way, I hired Tom, and here's the baby.
Right. I thought it was effective. I thought there were some wonky moments within the bottle, which Julie and I were having our moments with one particular actress.
I may have thrown down my pad of paper once or twice.
Well, come on. Someone has got to loop that one line that Lizzie says.
I suck.
Wow. I suck. I am sure there's a meme there. There's lots of memes.
Let me get my
there.
disclaimer out here.
Please send your memes to Julia, Joe, and myself.
Let me get this disclaimer out here right now. I said it. Let me get this disclaimer. We love the Blacklist. I love the Blacklist. I know we're hard on the Blacklist sometimes, but we're hard on it because we love it. We're not just faceless shills for the Blacklist. when stuff's bad, we're gonna call it out. We're obviously doing the show, spending a lot of our time doing the after show, an additional hour after we saw an hour. So we like the show. There's some things that we don't like. We're gonna call them out. One of those things is the lovely Megan Boone, who I think is great a lot of times, and a lot of times not so great. And I think that Julie and I, and sometimes Flippo and never Nando, have some problems with her.
Never, but I have less problems than you guys.
Some problems with her, and one of those problems today when she gave her speech about how bad of a profiler she is, and that didn't really work for me. Flippo, did you buy that thing? You obviously know what we're talking about, the big Lizzie moment, the judge.
Her big speech.
Oh, I don't know. I spent the whole time distrusting the judge. I didn't pay attention to her. I thought the judge was digging too much.
Sure.
It smells funny.
Well,
You don't think that she just gave it all up so easily? Like
she gave it up, though.
She didn't even have to try.
Really uncomfortable.
But she asked the question, like, what does this have to do? And then she just spills it.
Well, let me tell you, it's Reddington.
Let's
Let me
start at the
tell you all about it.
Yeah, let's start from the top.
Let's really work through it, Judge.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it was just way too much. I mean, I kind of felt like is the judge part of the adversary? Like
Sure.
he was just asking for way too much information.
Well, I thought there
Either
had
him
to-
or the stenographer.
I thought there had to be more somewhere, and we just didn't get it in this episode. And I'm hoping that there's something because it was all just too easy.
Yeah.
I do like that that they found this plot point, the one specific plot point to of the murder, and they're sort of stringing this out to get maybe Tom and Lizzie and Red back together. I think it's a really good job of the writers to figure out how to get Tom back in there, because Tom is Q rating is through the roof, and he tests really high, and everybody loves Tom. They're hashtagging Tom. The promo. God, NBC promo department was really on this one.
Yeah.
The Blacklister is Tom Keene.
I love that.
Like, all right. we get it. Tom Keene. No, but I think
And they hashtagged it too. They already hashtagged it.
Tom is back. Where is Tom?
It was and hashtag Tom King.
Yeah.
They
Tom
hashtagged
Keene.
it right in the middle of that.
So we love
the promo department was working during the episode. That whole montage with all the bad guys and everything.
Well, and that's
they were working in there too.
And the only other thing, once I'll say bad, and then we'll move on, is the one montage in the middle did not work for me. The one that was set to music, it felt like straight out of Rocky IV. Like when Rocky, Rocky IV is like one big music video. It's like 5 montages in a fight.
We need a montage.
He's like working on chopping wood,
bro.
Yeah, the whole thing like that felt like just an old school '80s action movie montage dropped in the middle of that.
Well, you need
set to the guitars and stuff, and explosions were happening.
Yeah.
Or the South Park
friends.
song. You just need to put the South Park song on top of that whole section. A montage.
Is that
Joe.
Team America, yeah?
Yeah, Team America.
Were you awake for that, Joe? That montage? Were you snapping your fingers and bobbing your head?
No, there were like 15 montages.
There were.
There was one in the middle that was like set to music with like explosions happening.
Yeah.
And it was like time to the music.
The Solid Gold Flash Dancers made a cameo in the background, I think.
You know
it was
what it
really...
reminded me of?
What?
I'm so sorry, this might be obscure.
Yeah.
But that Forrest Gump moment where Lieutenant Dan, all his ancestors are dying in the field, and they're all Lieutenant Dan.
That's funny.
That's what it seemed like to me.
That's pretty... Oh, wow.
Other than that, let's talk about the episode itself, because a lot of good stuff did happen. First, we opened up with a origin story. We got the origin of Tom Keene. Like, we saw the origin of Tom Keene. We saw a young
Jacob
Phelps, getting doing his thing and getting scooped up by the major. Now,
he's just awesome. Lance Henderson.
And we're like, we bought all that, right? That was really cool.
Yeah.
We like Lance, and it's good to see where Tom comes from, and I like this whole idea of this guy who recruits assets at an early age and then just completely trains them up to go deep cover for presumably for the highest bidder or what. I mean, this is what I'm not quite clear on yet. The major, because he's not working for he's not working for a country. He's not working for the CIA.
He's another person, like so many blacklisters this season. He's another person who provides a service to criminal organizations.
Deep cover agents. I got him.
I love the idea.
That
are so molded and so susceptible.
Right.
And you can make them do whatever you want.
Yeah, it is kind of creepy though, because he gets them as teenagers or young kids. Is there like a mansion full of like kids in there, like the Xavier mansion in X-Men? Yeah,
the X-Men.
Like the X-Men is a mansion full of kids, like pickpocketing and like shooting guns and doing whatever they're doing.
Or was it Kingsman?
Yeah, like the Kingsman.
Or the Kingsman.
What did you think of that opening sequence, Joe?
Doug, I like the idea. It was actually kind of nice to see an old school black, Cadillac limousine too. I enjoyed that.
And they even, because it was 1994, they even had the old school New York license plate from that era.
Yes.
They had to ban, they had to stop that one.
Wasn't it?
Yeah, they had to stop producing that one because the Statue of Liberty was considered a national monument and couldn't be on a New York license plate. But I like the fact that they even had that.
Although I thought that was a Washington D.C. I thought it was a Washington D.C. license plate.
No, it was a New York license plate.
All right,
dude, don't.
I'm not messing with you.
I'm a New Yorker.
Okay,
I got this.
All right. Back me up, you two. All right. Someone back me up.
I should do the rest of the podcast with a New York accent.
That was a really bad New York. I don't have a New York accent.
So that was cool. We got that was a good that was a good open. And then we get to this other person who is we kept like racking our brain trying to figure out my girl's title. She is the assistant she's the assistant attorney general is what she is.
Okay.
And that is and it's hard because they're both like the two black folks are it's the deputy and the assistant. He's the deputy director.
I know you confuse both of them. I know you confuse the black folks. I get it.
He's gonna say that's how I do that often. We all look alike. It's a deputy director and the assistant attorney general.
Yeah.
Right. That's it. In real life, both it's Harry Lennox and her last name is Lennox, so they're not related. IX and OX. Anyway, so they're always in the dark room. So in the dark room, they're having a conversation, and we find out that with Lizzie, we get find out that there's going to be a grand jury. It may be a grand jury indictment coming down, a grand jury hearing into this case
because of Wilcox.
Because of old Wilcox.
Because Wilcox, Mr. Columbo,
which we like.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what?
Like a Columbo.
And he's eating a sandwich and he's got the papers. Like, you can't get through the metal detector without a sandwich in your hand. Like, whatever he's got going on.
Yeah.
The shoveled papers, but it's okay.
I like him.
I like him too.
I like him a lot.
I like him too. Like, when you mentioned on the podcast, the one that wasn't here, you talked about, he's like, they have that Columbo type.
The Columbo type.
Where he's
or my other one, the Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3. It's an old movie, but it's really awesome. I think that was Peter Falk also. I can't remember who the cop was in that one, but it's very similar.
Travolta and Denzel. That was a remake.
No, please. I stood up in the theater. I yelled at that remake. I hated it so much. All right.
So, anywho, so they have to figure out what to do. And then Harry makes this declaration that he is not going to go down. What does he say? What's his line?
He's not going to commit perjury
to
Lizzie.
To protect
Lizzie.
To protect her.
He said that in front of, last week he had that whole big moment, like he was only got weeks to live, and the most important thing is to protect his...
I'll do anything to protect my people.
Yeah. And now
this week he's like, I'm not going to protect you.
I'm not going to protect you. Yeah.
But which we did see later on, he actually did protect.
Well, yeah, it looks like he was just putting up a show for the assistant attorney general. Maybe
he did a great job of sort of feeling him out and to see how much information she had given the judge.
Yeah.
Now was he putting up a show? Do you think? Or
I think he just didn't want.
I think he turned in the moment, like in the moment when it came down to it, he's like, absolutely, I'm on her side. But I think
he couldn't admit it in front of the Attorney General. Right. I think if anything, he wanted Lizzie to still come out with the truth, but I don't think his intention ever was to not commit perjury to protect. He was going to protect Lizzie no matter what, but. Right. Obviously, depending on who else is in the room, he can't tell everyone. This is his secret.
He doesn't know the truth, right?
He doesn't know the truth.
No.
I don't know. He didn't know the truth. I think Lizzie told no.
The only one who knows is Wrestler.
Yeah.
On the task force. Correct?
Yeah, exactly.
But the bottom line is, he's like, whatever Lizzie said.
Yeah.
Is the truth.
Yeah.
So
when this is all over, though, they still have to work together. So he wants to keep himself on the moral high ground too.
Right.
Absolutely. You don't want to come out and tell the people that work for you, listen, I'll do whatever I have to do it's all good.
It's true.
Yeah.
He also can't lose her because she's the only thing tying
Red to the
task force. Mm-hmm. So he needs to be on her side, and he needs her to stay afloat.
Right. I think what they did with this episode as well is, in addition to sort of catching everyone up, using it as a device to catch new viewers up, they tied a lot of loose ends because there was a lot of stuff floating out there that always kind of nagged at us all the time that we would always go, especially Julia and I, we'd be like, what? How come? And the first thing they addressed a lot of things. The Assistant Attorney General addressed the fact that only 41 people know about the Blacklist, about the task force, that the task force is super insular and secret, which is probably why Wrestler and Keen are on every bus by themselves, or why there's not a ton of backup anywhere, because it is a very super secret, the task force is the task force. So I kind of bought that. 41 people know. That's a number. We know why. Then Lizzie with the judge, he asked the question which we all ask every day: how is a 30-year-old, 18 months on the force FBI agent in charge with the biggest task force in the super secret, top secret task force ever? And she kind of did a good job explaining that. But at least they brought it to the light of the viewers that, like, yeah, we know she's only 30. Yeah, we know she's been here 18 months, but this is the show.
Let's make one thing clear, though, because we do get comments on this, and we got a comment on it, I think, as recently as last week. She has experience. She has law enforcement experience before the 18 months as a profiler. It's just that we don't, as a profiler, her inexperience to be on the task force, and we do make fun of her inexperience a lot, but she is experienced up to a certain point.
Fair enough.
The character is, at least. So, but we do mesh on that a lot, but we do understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, but that's good. But they of course, it's something because they addressed it. Like they brought it out. It's one of the things they brought out. Like, hey, we know you're asking about this. Here's that. They also made clear as to like the question, like, what is the significance of the blacklist? The numbers? Is there an actual list? All those questions. It's almost like they had a bunch of viewer questions, and they just had the judge answer them all. About this list.
Totally.
Right?
So the judge was the chat room host. He goes, from Joe K. Braswell, 94.
They addressed it, but they didn't really answer it.
Well, they didn't answer it, but it's like it felt like that. All these things that maybe are nagging. Like on the legal pad, he probably had all those written down. He's like, what's this? But I did like that. I like that as a device to be able to answer, at least bring these things up. Didn't answer them, but at least brought them all up.
That's the thing, right? I agree with you. As a device, it works because at least the writers have come out and said, like, listen, we got this. It's all going to make sense. We promise. We are aware of all the things that seem goofy and silly. We're aware of it. It's part of the plan.
Right.
Well, I think, again, with all the information that we've been seeing, I mean, there have been some episodes where we have to pause in the middle of the show and we look at each other like, okay, what exactly is happening right now?
Right.
And we even ask ourselves this. So I think in a way it's like, this is the writer's way of saying, this is all the important information that we want you to remember for what's coming next.
Yes.
What was kind of cool, though, since we're addressing the issue of the actual blacklist itself, was that this is the first time that we knew the blacklister before we knew he was on the blacklist. Right. So now we could see Red, knowing Red. So now we know Red, we know the blacklister, and we know the task force. And now we could see how he sort of manipulates them together to suit his needs.
Here's what I want to know. And
Does that make sense?
That makes
right?
sense, yeah.
Here's what I want to know, and I'm going to leave this. We should make a game out of this for next week.
Okay.
I want to know what number you guys think Tom Keen is on the blacklist.
Oh.
And we'll
I
think
think
about it.
said-
We'll see that for predictions.
31.
Do we know?
I think someone said.
Someone said it already? I don't think so.
Number 7, baby.
7?
Someone said. Somebody posted that already.
Yeah.
Then it must be a spoiler.
Janice Klein. Janice Klein says.
Were you going to pick 7,
then there
Nando?
goes. No, I didn't know.
Yes.
Oh God. Really?
What? I
Inside
do.
it.
Oh my goodness.
Stop fighting, you guys.
Oh man.
Inside
the
baseball
honeymoon's
here.
over, people.
That's
Those of you who
Russian.
really care about
It's a
us.
regular.
Those of you
broke
who
up.
think this is
We're
an act
separated.
between
Step,
Nando
step.
and Julia before the mics were hot tonight, they were really going at it about something or other, really being
About predictions again.
really being mad with each other, and then they have to act like they like each other. But you guys really like each other, right?
I love Nando.
Oh,
Stab.
Julia.
All right, you love each other.
Can I say one?
Yes,
can I say one
whatever
more
you
thing
want,
about the
Flippo.
judge?
Sure.
I think it's also really interesting to have an outsider perspective, like kind of dictating a whole episode. Like you really got to see the task force in a different light because you're not in the action. You're not in the mix there with Red and the task force. Here's what we got to do right now. We don't have a choice. You're really feeling that outside presence of the judge, kind of putting a microscope on it, and it really does not paint Red in a very flattering light. And
Right.
I wonder if that's a direction the show's interested in kind of exploring for a little bit. Does that make any sense?
Well, when has he ever been in a flattering light as far as the government is concerned?
No, but I mean as viewers, we always watch, we always have a good time because it's Red. We kind of accept that it's for the greater good, and we kind of decide, I think, collectively to forget that he's got a personal agenda he's pursuing. But when you have the judge looking into this whole thing and laying it all out on the table step by step, it really does paint a different picture.
Well, yeah, and it's also kind of back to what we were talking about earlier about, what you're saying about this outsider perspective. He's calling out these things. If you say it out loud, it does sound kind of ridiculous. He's like, let me get this straight. Your husband was a spy, and then this guy comes and gets you, and you're 30, and there's this blacklist that no one knows about. Like what? Like, and the number four guy on the most wanted list is dictating who and where and when a task force goes after.
Yeah.
I could have sworn he was about to say FBI WTF.
Right. I could have sworn he was going to say that.
But it's all almost he almost said like, well, if you say it like that, it does sound kind of ridiculous. But I mean, she's like, but yes, it's true.
I
I must
must.
suck.
What's the line to what was the line to the world or what she says in the middle?
Oh, let me
God.
think. Yeah, you
Let
wrote
me
it down.
phrase this right. The entire world.
Yes, that was the
I
hotline.
must suck.
Hotline.
Sorry.
Yes.
You do.
Okay, so enough of that. So yeah, I mean, it's a good device, and it does give us the outsider perspective. But I think that it sort of addresses all these things especially for people who just sort of came onto the show and they're like, so let me get this straight. Like, this is all happening, and yeah, it is all happening. And they show you the clips, and it works. So we're in on that. I want to get to Tom a little bit because we still get to go back and see Tom in action. And I gotta say, I was a little hard on Tom, saying like, I don't really care about Tom, but I'm kind of warming up to Tom.
It's
Like,
funny.
they show those dreamy eyes enough.
It's funny seeing all those flashbacks from season 1
Yeah.
with Tom.
Yeah.
Just reminds me of when I didn't really care about the character.
Old J. Crew Tom with the
Yeah,
glasses and
old
the sweater.
library back in the days when Sanfelippo was busting our ears with the Dawson Creek theme.
Yes.
Uh,
There it is. There it is.
Oh, and Flip Boy, I really thought about you when they said Xanatacos.
Yes, me too.
I
Me too.
really missed you tonight when they brought up Xanatacos.
But yeah, he's warming up to. I mean, obviously he's a character now that we actually want him to come back. So as opposed to last season when I was like, we need a break from him.
Yeah.
So at the beginning of last season, at least.
Speak for yourself.
It is. Well, to me, it's interesting. I mean, I do want to know more about Tom, deep cover neo-Nazi Tom going after the neo-Nazis in what capacity and how deep he's
I
going,
like
what's
this
he
idea of the
doing.
Major in that he conditions them in such a way that even though that he sort of went off book and got emotionally involved, he
Right.
reverted immediately back to give me another job, and
Right.
that's what these kids do
Right.
that are under the spell of the Major. Give me another job so I can re-immerse myself into something
Right.
else, and that's what he has done 100%. Even neo-Nazi Tom is kind of hot.
Yeah, I mean,
Not condoning neo-Nazis, but he's kind of hot.
Sorry.
Sorry. Is that funny to you?
Yeah, it is funny. I'm glad you're
I'm sure
I'm
there's
glad
a
you're a
lot of
registered
people
voter.
who will,
I really am glad.
Who will agree with a lot of ladies out there who's going to agree with me.
Hey man, I'm not condoning neo-Nazism either, but Nazi Tom, I'm warm up to the guy. I'm a heterosexual African American male.
I wasn't really into Nazism, but you know what?
Yeah, exactly.
After seeing Tom,
As a heterosexual African American man,
maybe I'll give them a listen. Maybe they have something I can agree with.
being attracted to a
Not my kind of
neo-Nazi is
people.
not
Yeah.
my thing, but
You know,
anyway.
Yeah.
today, dude's kind of hot.
Okay.
Yeah. So
And you can find Julia Cearley at right.
No, I'm really am. I do like to see what's going on with Tom and that side story, and that is interesting to me. And it looks like we're going to be able to bring Tom and Lizzie back together, and hopefully my prediction will come through of the wrestler and him fighting, and they're working together, and blah blah blah. Anyway, so we saw that, and then Red comes up with a sort of elaborate scheme to get to the Major. He says we have to go kidnap the guy from the UN who
Malaysian deputy ambassador, I believe.
Who Red knows is also another deep cover sleeper agent dude.
And that guy's old.
Yeah,
That guy's super. I was afraid when he was running out in the snowy street. I was afraid he was
Yeah.
going to kill himself before they abduct him.
He's gonna do it. So they got him, and that was a cool scene. I'll say every scene with Red is just they don't get old.
Yeah.
all the Red, all the James Spader, Red Reddington stuff does not get old. And when he walks up and he puts his hat down, and everything he does, I love this guy. So anyway, I really do. I love Red. So we get that. We get him to to give up the Major, in his ways of saying, like, he'll out him and ask him, are they still taking out the tongues first?
Yeah.
Does the
Love
cartel
that.
take the tongue out? Right. So that was cool. So ultimately he does get to the Major, which was also another cool confrontation when it's like they again seem like old friends but adversaries, which is almost every Red's relationship with everyone is almost like we're friends but we're frenemies.
It's like a mutual respect.
Right. It's like Red, you
Travel in the same circles.
right. He's always but he didn't have a really
Frenemies.
he didn't have a quippy anecdote about the Major though. He didn't. Major. Last time I saw you was in the umbrella. It was in the. He usually has something to say about everyone. About almost everyone. He has something to say about them. But it was all business with the Major. It felt like there was no.
Well, there's a little bit of urgency attached to the Major
Sure.
because he needs to get Tom because he
Yes.
needs to help Lizzie.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
I
let's
agree.
cut right to the chase.
Right. And so and they did, and they had that exchange about where we found out everything. We basically got all our info. It's like I hired you. It's like they made some serious exposition there. Like we had to rewind it. Like
And
now
it was just like matter of factly said. I felt like considering everything that we've seen in the episode was like flashbacks. It was something to say. Wait a second, we just heard
Right.
something major.
Yeah, exactly.
Major.
No pun intended.
No pun intended.
But we're kind of glossing over a little bit because this is a flashback episode. Then they start dropping dimes. Like,
Yeah.
dropping,
One big fat scene.
yeah. It's like, well, that I hired Tom, and now, but Berlin played him double, and then I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah.
So let's get this
let's-
straight. Let's unpack it
so
right now.
I hired him on your recommendations.
Mm-hmm.
You sold me an asset, then allowed him to turn when Berlin offered twice as much. So that's sort of the basics of it, right?
Yes.
And also the little tidbit that he was
That's a hell
perfect,
of a
but
sentence. That was a
became
hell of a
emotionally
sentence, by the way.
involved.
Hell of a sentence.
Yeah. Okay.
Exactly what-
Okay.
So you sold me an asset. So he goes to the Major. He's like, I need to keep an eye on Lizzie Keene because we don't know why yet. Because X, she's of interest to him.
Well, we
Who do
figured
you
the
have?
fulcrum.
Well, no, there's more to
You
it
don't
than
think so?
that.
Oh, okay.
Because Dembe came, Dembe had a lot to say. Dembe got in Red's face. Dembe got my man's face and was like, "You need to tell her." I was like, "Yeah." Now,
The voice of reason, Dembe.
and I like the way they use Dembe in that way too, because he says so little.
I feel
but
like
when
that's
he
the
does
most he's
speak,
ever spoken.
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah.
But that made it that much more impactful. Like, he doesn't say a word, but when he does speak, he's telling Red, "Look, you need to tell her," because who knows everything? He knows everything. Dembe knows everything. I mean, Dembe,
Dembe's been there since the beginning.
except for our boy Mr. Gray, who was or was it Mr. Gray? Charles, what's his name from Breaking Bad, who was our guest in our first episode of season 1.
Oh, yes.
He was initially the his sidekick for like 3 episodes.
Yes.
And then he got
and then he got offed.
yes. But so Dembe's been there, but still since day one, and his closest confidant. So we can presume that if anyone knows everything, he knows where all the bodies are buried, literally, it's Dembe. So for Dembe to speak up and say you need to tell her, and for him to say, I don't think I can do that. He said, don't think about it, do it. I thought the scene was going to end there, and he's like, no, don't think about it, just do it.
Yeah, it wasn't just tell her, it's like, suck it up, Red.
Right.
You have to tell her. I don't care how uncomfortable it is.
I was like, ooh, Dembe's in his face. I don't know. Joe Flippo, any thoughts on that whole reveal? Tom being hired, a bad asset being sold. Dembe, what you got?
I'm a little screwed up on it. I'm not going to lie to you. Because if he hired Tom to be, why would you hire someone to marry your daughter? I'm all screwed up right now.
Well, stop with the daughter. That's not. They're not related. Stop it.
Oh
Wait,
my God!
wait, but-
Really?
This guy.
But let's say
Why would he? I'm stuck because it's his daughter. Get out of here. That was my Joe Sanfelippo imitation. by the
That
way.
was really good.
Yeah. Okay.
That was on point.
But let's not, you know what? Let's not eliminate the fact that Lizzie, for the first time, even said at one point, "I thought he was my father."
That was another lead we're bearing. That was a big.
That
cool
was another
moment,
throwaway
too.
line. That was a cool moment because we just thought she was playing stupid for the longest time, but here she was finally admitting that she kind of was leading that way
at
herself.
the end of season 1, she point blank asked him, "Are
Right.
you my father?"
I guess that's true.
But also like it's also this acknowledgement to the fans who and to the silly people like Nando and Joe Flippo who just won't let it
guys.
die about Raymond being a father. They threw it out there as almost like it almost like to diminish it more, like I thought he was my father at one point, but he's not. It felt like it was kind of a throwaway. It could be a red herring, could be like to throw us off the scent more, but I don't know.
All right, can we think about this just a little bit? Because
Sure.
I really have no idea, so I need help. So if Red hired Tom through the Major to ingratiate himself into Lizzie's life, to marry her, to be her husband, I mean, if his ultimate goal is always to protect her, I mean, things got really hairy and really violent and really bloody between the two of them.
Sure.
So what's happening? Somebody
I don't know.
help me.
I don't know. I mean, this is.
I haven't had time to really ingest it all and really work it through. So
Yeah.
I'm asking for some help right now.
I don't know. I mean, Flippo, you're the one who's convinced that they're father-daughter.
Well, that's the thing, right? If you hire someone to protect a person in your life, you don't hire someone to emotionally manipulate, and therefore, it's a terrible way to put it. But I'm not going to say it that way. Never mind. But you don't hire someone to completely devastate someone's psyche like that. That's horrible.
Because we know, go ahead.
You're essentially I mean, can you imagine to your daughter or to someone close to you, whatever? Like, I'm going to put this person in your life that's a fraud. The whole thing's a fake. I mean, if you flip it and you make Tom a woman and Lizzie a man, it seems a lot. I don't know. It seems a lot clearer to me. It's Total Recall. It's
Total Recall.
Yeah.
Let me just add to that two things. I mean, and I'm just throwing this out there as devil's advocate. I mean, arranged marriages happen in the old world,
Right.
so it's not completely unheard of for someone to set two
we're
people
going
up.
to get you a nice Italian girl.
We're gonna get you a nice
She's
guy.
gonna be great.
And then the second thing is, he's not necessarily. We don't know exactly why he hired Tom, but my guess is Tom was originally there to protect Elizabeth King.
Yeah.
He was there to protect her. So in that sense, yeah, obviously when Lizzie finds out the truth, if he listens to Demby, if Red listens to Demby and tells her everything, she's gonna pout and get pissed off and say, I don't trust you or like you again, for an episode or two. But at the same time, I could see that very well being a reason that he wanted to have somebody close to her to protect her.
So was Tom becoming emotionally involved, which was not part of his job breakdown to begin with? Was that what sort of set off alarms? Is that why Red himself, who hired Tom in the first place,
Right.
started to say, "Hey, look at your husband. Hey, look at your husband.
Right.
Hey,
Or
look
more
at your husband."
importantly,
Well, is that in
or more
Berlin?
importantly, why Red, maybe why Red felt like he had to insert himself in the situation because
Tom was compromised?
Because Tom was compromised. That's
So
why
wait.
maybe that's why he surrendered. Like I need to see Lizzie Keene. He had to insert himself in the situation. But again, why not have Tom killed? I don't know.
So was Tom emotionally involved, which he wasn't supposed to be, or was he working for Berlin, or was it both?
Both, I don't know.
Or,
We don't know.
like,
We don't know. And presumably, the Major has debriefed Tom, and Tom says, I was emotionally involved, because how would the Major know that Tom was emotionally involved? And Red confirmed it, like, oh, yeah, we know he got emotional. Like, none of that's really confirmed. But more importantly, what's still bothering me a lot is I get that this episode, I think they did a great job of sort of tying all these loose ends up and and sewing this thing together. I don't think this was the plan from day one. I think that they got to a certain point and now they're writing their way out of it, which happens all the time in these shows, and that's great. They did a good job of writing the way out of some of these corners. I'm still bothered by the one scene back in season 1 with Tom and Red on the bench.
I was gonna say I want to rewatch that scene now.
Rewatch it now.
I want to rewatch it to see exactly how that is.
They really seem to not know each other.
Well, no, I mean Tom ended up knowing him, but they didn't seem to have met each other before. But Tom seemed to know who he was.
Well, is it possible that Tom would not know who hired him? Is it possible that it all went through?
That's possible.
It's like a double blind situation, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's entirely possible.
Right? Didn't we sort of figure out that he knew who Red was?
He knew who Red was.
Yeah.
He did, but he
so
never.
what was all the pretense for? No one else was listening. No one else was there.
Exactly.
But maybe Red didn't think Tom knew who he was, so Red was playing it up. I don't know.
That's
why we got to rewatch it. I think that's the best way.
That's really bothering me.
That was a while ago.
But last but not least, we want to talk about our boy Columbo. That he's still hot on the case. He's found the casing,
the smoking gun.
He's matched it to Lizzie's weapon, and now both Lizzie and Harold have perjured themselves in front of this suspect judge, who I think the only way he gets out of this is the judge is bad, and because that's perjury is perjury. That's bad news.
Yeah.
So Tom Keene can't come and fix perjury. So I don't know what's going to happen unless Red's going to have Tom Keene kill the judge. I don't know how this is going to work, but how do you see this playing out, Joe?
I don't trust the judge. I want to be perfectly clear about this. I don't trust the judge.
Sure.
And I don't trust the stenographer because now there's way too much information in the judgment.
That's stenographer.
The stenographer.
In a weird way.
Yeah, I like the way she said vending machine.
I didn't either.
Not to trust about the stenographer.
What do you know?
I don't know, but go ahead.
I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a judge, clearly. But why is the stenographer
Clearly.
there?
Right. Okay.
I don't understand. It doesn't make any sense to me. If this is supposed to be like closed thing, and it's super double secret, national security, I'm a judge, you can trust me, and this stenographer who makes $13 an hour. Just the two of us. We're the only one.
Well, I mean, I don't even know if this whole judge witness thing is legal that's happening right now.
Yeah, I felt like Lizzie. I felt like
Lizzie
like really opened up way too easily as far as
no
everything.
prodding whatsoever.
Like no prodding at all. She gave away more. There were times when the judge was like, "I want to take a break," and she's like, "No, I want to keep telling you stuff. I want to keep telling you more and more stuff." And it's like, wait a second.
It was I have a CI, a criminal informant. Who is it? I can't tell you. Who is it? It's Red Reddington.
Yeah.
Let me tell you everything about it.
Spill the beans. Like the Red Reddington? Yeah, that's him.
So let's talk about it.
Let's
get down to it.
Yeah.
I mean,
I got shit to say.
The whole thing about the incursion, like he never asked her about that. She's just like, "Oh, let me give you some more personal information about what happened here."
And then he's like, "We're kind of off track here."
Yeah, we're kind of off track.
Think?
No, and then this is the best part.
Anyway, so that's the episode. That was that. We all liked it enough.
We liked it enough.
No, we thought it was a good episode.
I liked it. Yes,
even though it was well episode.
It was nice to see some old friends like the Alchemist and
it was good to see.
and all those peeps. Miss them.
Yeah,
we've got about 95 seconds, so I'm gonna really quickly. I want to just give some shout outs to our peeps real fast. With no drops. Rats T, thank you for listening. I appreciate it. Appreciate all your comments. Nando talked to you. I addressed the other stuff as well. Slappy Pappy 1, Dave 555. Thanks for sticking with us, Dave. And sorry I'm not in the following. I saw you said Joe Braswell who, so forget you, Dave 1555. I'm kidding. Thanks for listening. Rika, right? Rika. Tickle Tea Lady, of course.
Don't forget Marima Trapoja.
Love her. Sam H. Alice K.
Holistic Health and Living.
Miss Lean, of course. Fusion Love Stories.
Janice Klein.
Yep, Janice Klein. Hera Flyer. Sabrina Garrett. Mouse Dresden.
Sam H.
And Wild Rice.
And on iTunes, thank you to Wild Bill 519 and Love Justified, who agrees with you, Julia, for some reason. I have no idea why.
Smart person.
They just said they agree with you. Yeah. Okay.
All
yeah.
right.
And they love Justified.
Shout out to Caitlin K real fast on the Twitters because she knows that Red is her dad. So bang, Caitlin K.
Okay. Stick together, you guys.
Yes, if you want a shout out from Joe Sanfelippo, just agree with Joe.
Right.
Yes.
So really quick predictions. Anything?
Oh God, I actually really don't. I have a prediction that Tom's going to do some pull-ups.
Okay.
I'm going to enjoy that.
Sure, he might. I'll take it.
I predict we haven't seen the end of the major. that we're going to get a little bit more info from him. And I don't think the judge, something's going to happen. He's either bad or he's going to die or both. I don't know. But Tom's going to do some pull-ups, so that's really important.
That's important. I wasn't going to call on you. You're so conditioned to go first.
Bullshit, you weren't going to call on me.
Flippo, what do you got?
I got nothing.
That's good. Love the enthusiasm.
Cool, good talk.
Nando?
Yeah, where does it say that he's 7? I want to find out where he's 7 because I really think. I guess he did. I don't know. I didn't look up the news and gossip, so I guess
this is from Janice. Now
Janice says he's number 7.
Janice Klein says, "I heard he will be blacklisted number 7."
That's pretty high up.
Okay, well,
I'm surprised.
Go take it up with Janice Klein. I don't know. Your prediction or not?
No, I guess I don't. I wanted to have fun with the game, but I guess it's out there as number 7, so I'm not going to predict that.
All right.
Okay.
Keep my mouth closed.
Okay.
What about you, Bress?
Well, my prediction is that the judge is dirty. Tom is there to clean up that whole mess. I predict Tom will somehow now be part of the task force in some weird way. I don't know how or what.
Yeah, I can see that.
I see that coming.
Yeah.
Well, they got to work together, get Lizzie out of it.
Yeah, they got to get Tom in there somewhere. So
he'll do some pull-ups.
Yeah,
it'll all be okay.
That's all we got. Joe Flippo, where can we find you, sir?
You can find me on the Twitters at Joe Flippo, JoeFlippo, and my website is josephsanfilippo.com.
Cool. Julia.
Twitter and Instagram with my name, Julia Cearley. JuliaCearley. Follow me, find me, be my friend.
Yes. Nando?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Nandovel, Nandovel. You can also find me here at AfterBuzz for a bunch of other shows, including Bates Motel with Joe and Joe. The Following by myself.
Without Joe and Joe.
Without Joe and Joe
or
and Julia. Or Julia. Walking Dead and Scorpion and Survivor, which is a lot of fun this season. So,
cool.
And you know what? Personal shout out. I'm running the LA Marathon this Sunday.
This
Sunday.
Also, Nando's in People Magazine this week.
And I'm in People Magazine this week. That's right.
Look for Nando.
If you see a photo of Maria Menounos on a spin cycle, I'm right behind her, I guess, right?
Yeah,
I gotta see it.
Look
Good
for Nando.
positioning there, Nando.
Yes,
that wasn't on purpose.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I'm like leaning in or so. I haven't seen the photo yet, so I don't
seen the photo.
I don't want to approve it, but yes, I'm in People Magazine with
Yes.
Maria Menounos apparently. But I'm running the LA Marathon this Sunday, so if you follow me, I'm gonna tweet and do some stuff, and if you want, you can also tweet at me. I'll have my phone on.
Beers at mile 21.
Beers at mile 20. You
You're
guys are coming,
gonna
right?
kill it.
Yes.
You guys are all coming.
We'll support you.
I'm running it.
I'm bringing my medal next week. Yeah, you're running it.
I already ran it.
I'm running.
With your
I'm
car.
at the finish line.
I'm running to mile 21. Okay. I'm Joe Braswell. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Joe K. Braswell on Bates Motel with Nando. Not on the following. Sorry, Dave 1555.
Sorry, guys.
And that's all I got. Thank you so much for listening and watching, and we'll see you next week.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.